What is up, Hardcore Nation? It's Hardcore Christopher here, and I have heard of that vegan teacher. But my scope on that vegan teacher is very minimal. Basically, what I know about her is she tends to make a big deal out of people who doesn't share the same beliefs as she does. And I was actually watching Austin the Duck. And I just typed in the title of the video, how Gordon Ramsay is like Hitler, and how that makes me cry. And to my surprise, it was still up. So, I began watching this, and I'm like, why don't I react to this and give my commentary? So, I think the title speaks for itself. We'll hear what she has to say, along with my commentary, and comparing Gordon to Adolf Hitler is... I don't see a comparison there, but maybe she has one.
Hello, students. Today we're going to talk about the devil.
Okay, first off, I'm not your student. I haven't been in school ever since 2015. So, I'm not a student of that vegan teacher.
The devil's name is Gordon Ramsay. A devil
No, the devil's name is Satan, thank you very much.
is defined as a creature, a being, that does nothing but harm in the world. Now you might look at him.
That is the exact definition of a devil, which I'm surprised she knows. With that being said, Gordon Ramsay has done a lot of good for the industry that he is in.
Gordon Ramsay, and say to yourself, well, he seems like a nice guy. He's able to crack some jokes. His family look healthy and happy.
Is she reading off of a teleprompter? Because that's the vibe I get.
They're always seen joking around, and there's always happy music. But look a little bit deeper. What's really going on?
I'm going to guess that you're salty because he cooks meat, he eats meat, and you don't. Now, I want to make it very clear here, whether you're being vegan doesn't make you a monster, just like someone eating meat doesn't make you a monster. But there are pros and cons of both lifestyles. What I don't like is how that vegan teacher goes about sharing her worldviews and her beliefs. To be completely honest, she punches you in the face over and over and over like it's actually going to accomplish something. Which, at the end of the day, when you're like that, all it does is turn someone completely off. So there's literally no middle ground here.
When you have a lot of money, you can pay people to film you in whatever light that you want. You can put cameras in the right places, and you can insert music and make your life seem like one giant trip to Disneyland.
That's not true. There have been documentaries made on millionaires and billionaires, even trillionaires, and you'll find out that they lived a horrible life in that documentary. So that's not true.
achieved this, but it doesn't make him a good person. All of the money that
Well, I would say... Does she have any basis? I know I keep on stopping and we're only 57 seconds in, but I want to see if she has a point, so I'm going to let this go for a little while.
he has made is on the backs of innocent animals who have been murdered because of him, who never wanted to die, who died begging for their lives. Now, people don't think of chickens, pigs, cows.
Nah. Nah. And here's the reason why I say nah. It's because pigs, cows, chickens, they were specifically made to be butchered and to put food on our table. She's talking about an industry that is, well, I'm trying to think of how old the industry goes back, but it's older than her.
And lambs that often, because we've been so indoctrinated in our society to think of them as objects. But they're not objects, and they should not be eaten.
I'm sorry, what? Let me go back. What was the list of animals that she gave?
It doesn't make him a good person. All of the money
I went back a little too far.
that he has made is on the backs of innocent animals. Often, because we've been so indoctrinated in our society to think of them as objects. But they're not objects, and they should not be eaten. People don't think of chickens,
Chickens, pigs,
cows,
and lambs. Chickens, pigs, cows, lambs. Those are all considered livestock. And livestock usually means somewhere down the line it's going to be made into food. Usually.
That often, because we've been so indoctrinated in our society to think of them as objects. But they're not objects.
They're not? So you mean a pig isn't an object? A cow isn't an object. A lamb isn't an object. And a chicken isn't an object. So what are they? Air? Seriously, what are they? Air? No. They have physical forms, which means they are objects.
And they should not be eaten.
Yes, they should.
Science has
And I'll get into why in a little bit.
proven to us that we don't need to eat animals to survive.
Let's break this down. Okay,
but they're not objects, and they should not be eaten. Science has proven to us that we don't need to eat animals to survive.
Yes, I remember. Right before I stopped, I said, let's break this down. So she says that science has proven that we don't need to eat meat to survive. Which, if you look at it, that is technically true. There is protein in nuts and things of that nature. However, you still need protein. And whether that vegan teacher likes it or not, whether you eat a hamburger or fish or chicken, anything, well, any meat product, that is a whole lot more protein than you would get in berries, herbs, and nuts.
Given that fact, and given the fact that he is able to work in the kitchen, there's no excuse for him to keep paying for the murder of these animals.
Okay. I was going to save this point for later, but trying to think of how to structure this. She keeps using the word murder. Like this industry, like the food industry has been built upon murdering animals. Well, here's the problem that you run into. It's not murder. The reason why I say it's not murder is because we have to get our meat from somewhere. And how do we get our hamburgers? How do we get our fried chicken? How do we get our bacon? Sorry about that. Any steak. Where does all that come from? It comes from the livestock. Cheese, which is dairy, comes from cow and goat's milk. So I don't see the issue here. It's not murder. That's it.
Why would he do it? I ask myself that. Why would he keep doing it? Well, there are a few reasons. One is that maybe he's not such a good chef after all. Maybe he really doesn't know.
You're talking about a guy who has 4.5 to 5 Michelin stars. So he's very accomplished, which makes him a great chef.
Oh, how to cook delicious vegetables and fruits and make them into these amazing meals. Maybe he's not such a good chef after all.
Yada, yada, yada. Here's the thing. You can eat a salad, but usually when you eat a salad, that salad is typically accompanied by some meat.
Or he's a kind of psychopath who really cannot see into the eyes of an animal.
Ah, yes. Gordon Ramsay is a psychopath because he cannot empathize, he cannot sympathize with animals. Well, according to that vegan teacher, if you eat meat, I guess that makes you a psychopath in some way.
And see them as sentient beings.
They're not sentient. They're not sentient beings. Why do I say that chickens and cows and lambs and pigs aren't sentient? Do they know right from wrong? No, they don't. All they know is that when they wake up in the morning, they are going to eat, to use the bathroom, to sleep, and that's it. They are not sentient in any way, shape, or form.
Maybe he truly is disconnected. Most people watching here know that if they look at a dog, they can tell whether the dog's happy or not. They know that dogs and cats and all animals are able to feel pain. If you try to come close to them, they can be afraid. If you try to take them away from their families, they don't want that. Animals feel love, and they feel fear, and they feel joy, and they don't want to die, and they have a right to their lives. So why is it?
Hold on. She's comparing livestock to dogs and cats. Here's the thing. Unlike dogs and cats are domesticated, dogs are domesticated. Dogs are descendants of wolves. Meanwhile, cats are, well, they're descendants of big cats. Think lynx, tigers, that sort of thing. Cows, lambs, pigs, chickens, they're not. They're wild animals and they should be treated as such. For example, if a cow was to charge at a rancher, what would that rancher do? That rancher would probably try to corral it, try to calm it down. But if none of that worked, he would more than likely have no choice but to put it down, which means dead.
That somebody like this thinks it's okay to make shows like this.
Right, last time I had the most amazing chicken wings was with the incredible Sean Evans. And thankfully, 75 million of you tuned into what
75 million people on this planet watched him.
First off, I don't see a problem with 75 million people watching Gordon Ramsay eat chicken wings. Just thought I'd get that out there.
Take the body of an innocent animal, a chicken, a bird, who just wanted to live his or her life.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to snicker, but chickens are omnivores, which means they'll eat plants and they will eat meat. So, kind of disproving your own point here.
And he chopped up this dead body after paying somebody to create this chicken in the first place, because that's what happens in the industry.
I'm sorry, what? After paying somebody to create that chicken for him. Now, I don't know whether she meant by the cooking process, but no one creates a chicken besides the hen and the rooster. And that's during mating season.
There are 3 times more chickens on this planet than there are humans. Where are they all?
Okay. Now we get into where I wanted to go. She's going to make another historical point here in a little bit, which will probably make me laugh. But she said it. There are 3 times more chickens than there are humans. Which means if we don't, this goes for any population of animal. If we don't control the population, there will be overpopulation. And that overpopulation will bring disease. Think about it like this. In the Middle Ages, there was something called the bubonic plague, otherwise known as the Black Death. The Black Death was carried by rats. There was abundance of rats, which means a lot of people got the Black Death. So, what happened? Well, rats had to die. And thousands upon millions of people died during the Black Death. So there was that as well.
They're kept in facilities, in giant jails, in giant Holocaust-like camps. Think about the Holocaust.
Well, okay, I can't wait to hear her reasoning here.
About what the sentient beings in that Holocaust suffered through. Absolute hell. But the Holocaust never ended for the animals because of people like him. What's different?
She's left me speechless. She has literally left me speechless.
Between somebody like Hitler and somebody like Gordon Ramsay.
This is another historical point, and I'm glad I get to bring this up. She is trying to make the comparison of the food industry to the Holocaust. They're two completely different things, though. You see, chickens aren't being killed in the food industry just because they're chickens. It's because they are a source of food. Now, the Holocaust is a completely different issue, which, before I jump into that, let's continue on.
What is the difference? Now you're going to say that Hitler was a terrible man because he asked
Yeah, Hitler was a terrible man.
people to do these terrible things.
Yes, he did. Specifically, the Nazis.
He demanded it.
He did that too. He was the authoritative power over Germany.
Commanded it.
Yeah, he did.
And that they were humans. But what is the difference between
Okay. For anyone who hasn't seen the movie The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, it is one of the most accurate depictions of the Holocaust. From a German perspective. So, what's the difference between Gordon Ramsay and Adolf Hitler? First and foremost, Gordon Ramsay didn't make his own political party and try to overthrow the government. He would eventually get there, but the first time he did, the first time he tried, he failed. Secondly, what separates Gordon Ramsay from Adolf Hitler? Adolf Hitler was a complete nutcase. He hated the Jews. Third, what separates Gordon Ramsay from Adolf Hitler is Adolf Hitler's entire goal throughout World War II, throughout the Holocaust, was to make Germany not only a world power, but he wanted to make an Aryan race. That means a race of only one kind of person. That'd be blonde-haired and blue-eyed. And fun fact, the Jews weren't the only people that were dying during the Holocaust. It was everyone that didn't fit Hitler's view. Didn't matter whether you were heterosexual, homosexual. It didn't matter to him. If you didn't match up with his vision, you were going to die. Also, another thing that separates Ramsay from Hitler is Hitler wasn't a snake. Hitler was a snake in the grass. He made a non-aggression. So Hitler and Stalin. They signed a non-aggression pact with each other. And then once Stalin thought he was safe, Hitler doubled back on him. And then Stalin got mad at Britain. Well, Britain and the United States for not helping him out. To my knowledge, Gordon Ramsay has always been loyal, unlike Hitler. Also, Hitler had Jewish blood in him, so he was killing off his own bloodline.
Humans and chickens. What is the real difference? Is it because
one is sentient, one is not? One has feathers, one doesn't. One has talons, one doesn't. One lays eggs, one doesn't. Oh. And one can also say no and the other can't?
they're not as smart as us? Does that mean that all humans that are not smart should be murdered? Put on plates? Fried up? Turned into dinner?
Sounds like she's talking about cannibal. Sorry, let me just try that again. Sounds like she's talking about cannibalism.
What is it? Name the trait that an animal has that makes it okay for people like him to consistently encourage others to hurt them.
I thought we had been over this. They are livestock. They were put on this earth to be specifically killed by humans for food. That is it.
I think it's not okay. We have to
Well, in the words of Judge Judy, what you think doesn't matter to me.
create a world where if we were born in the body of any other being on this planet, that we would feel safe and okay. Do you understand? It's just by luck that we are born into these
No, I don't understand, and it's not by luck that we're born this way.
bodies. And it's not fair for us to abuse the other animals on this planet.
May I remind you that there was something called the Dust Bowl way back when, where people were literally starving and they would go and kill jackrabbits and everything just so they could have some food?
Just because of our taste pleasure. If he likes the way an animal tastes, that's just one sensory pleasure. Does he really think it's okay for his sensory pleasures to take precedent over an animal's life?
Actually, that vegan teacher is wrong. I learned this in high school in home ec. When someone is fixing something, we tend to eat with our eyes first, so if it looks appealing, we'll eat it. If it smells good, we'll eat it. And then, with our eyes, and our nose. We grab a fork or a spoon or whatever kind of utensils, and we eat it. So there's more than just one. Clearly, she hasn't done her research.
What next? What is going to happen when Gordon Ramsay likes to use another sense of his, like, say, his hearing? What happens when he likes to hear the animals scream in agony? Then, will he...
Okay, there's something I have to bring to the surface now. In the food industry, there are a lot of tactics that are used. Like the cages she mentioned earlier. That is 100% real, but they're not... I want to compare them to the Holocaust in any way, shape, or form. Secondly, I know this from watching a movie, that when a cow is put down for its meat, it doesn't scream because it doesn't feel it. Because all it takes is one good shot. Boom, cow goes down, cow gets processed. Same thing happens with a chicken. A chicken doesn't feel any pain because you wring its neck until it breaks. So that point is null and void.
Tell all of his fans, that's okay. You can go out there and hurt all the animals you want. Because, hey, Gordon Ramsay likes the way it sounds when they scream in agony. What about if Gordon Ramsay uses his sight and he says he likes to see the animals being sliced to death, murdered, and that becomes his show, the joy of watching...
Okay. The only time they get sliced is generally when they are already dead. Take Walmart, for example. You get a package of pork chops. Those pork chops may have 6 chops in them at a time. Which means all 6 of those chops came from 6 pigs. They're already dead. They're not going to feel anything.
Animals being murdered. What if that happens? Then will these millions and millions of people also continue to follow along? What is the difference? Taste pleasure in your mouth, eye pleasure, ear pleasure. All of these areas are so close. What makes Gordon Ramsay think that it's okay that just because of his taste pleasure...
She forgot scent. She forgot scent.
He can tell others to keep hurting animals, putting them in these incredible cycles of violence. Now, most people don't realize what goes on. You know, myself, I tried to talk to Gordon Ramsay. Maybe I thought, maybe he really doesn't understand the difference between animals to eat and foods that we eat.
Ad time.
Hi, I'm Gregory Gourdet, showing me...
Generally, I don't like ads, but if it gets me away from that vegan teacher, of course I'm going to skip it for a little bit, I am pleased.
Today in the finished 24-hour challenge.
I had
Now back to hell.
created a video for him.
Reviewing the work of Gordon Ramsay, who has 15 million followers here on TikTok. And I'm going to speak to you directly, Gordon. So, Gordon, one of the problems that I noticed that you have is you don't seem to understand the difference between food and...
This isn't speaking to... This is not speaking to someone directly. Speaking to someone directly is like sending them an email, a letter, a text message. But this is not talking to Gordon Ramsay personally at all.
animals. So food is something that you get out of the ground or you take it from a tree. It is something that doesn't have feelings, and it's
That is factually incorrect.
something that's very healthy for us to eat. Now, animals are alive. They are sentient beings like us, like chickens and cows.
That is, again, factually incorrect.
Sheep, pigs, these things are not actually foods. So I think you really need a little...
Yes, they are. He's worked in the food industry for Lord knows how long, and he knows exactly what he's doing, unlike that vegan teacher.
lesson, sort of remembering about that now. Surely you learned the animal names when you were younger, so just go back and review that, and from now on it would be really great if you started to cook actual food and just let the animals live. Alright? Hello, students.
So that is a video of me asking Gordon to please stop hurting animals.
Okay. Here's my question. Why would you do it via TikTok?
He didn't listen, so I created a song where I sang and asked him to please stop hurting animals. His response
And this is where he just goes, vegan donut.
was to eat an animal in front of me. Does that sound like the response of somebody who's in their 50s? A mature person? Or do you...
Well, to be completely honest, that vegan teacher is being very immature in the way she's handling things. So, if you're being immature, why doesn't that give Gordon every right to be immature back? But something tells me she's not going to play the entire thing. I could be wrong.
You think that he could have responded in any other way? Could he have said, good point, I'll try to cut down on the animals that I eat, or good point, I should try to make more vegan recipes?
No, because none of your points are good. They're not based off of anything. They are your opinions, and God bless you. You have rights. You have a right to every opinion that you have. However, just because you have a right to them doesn't mean that everyone is going to agree with you.
That's not what he did.
Eating animals is wrong, Gordon Ramsay. Hurting animals is wrong, Gordon Ramsay. Share this.
By the way, that vegan teacher's singing voice sucks.
And if you call me a No, that's fine.
So here you see, this is the face of
Okay, I was right. She didn't play at all.
somebody who likes to pay for the rape, the torture, and the murder.
Hey, he was eating lettuce. And to quote you, lettuce comes from the ground. Lettuce isn't sentient. So that makes it perfectly okay.
Of animals. Raped because animals in the industry are masturbated, forcefully impregnated. Their babies are taken away. There's kidnapping in the industry. Everything that's horrible. Think back to World War II.
You know, I wonder if that vegan teacher was actually ate meat at one point in time. I imagine she did.
And what happened there? Was there rape going on? Yes. Was there confinement going on? Yes. Was there torture going on? Yes. This man thinks it's okay for...
Okay, she's definitely reading off of a teleprompter. It's blatantly obvious.
that to continue to sentient beings, innocent animals, just born into this world who just want to live their lives. They don't want money.
And they live their lives. Believe it or not, they live their lives to give us food. Doesn't sound like a bad trade to me.
They don't want fame. They don't want objects. The only thing that animals have is their lives. And he takes that away from them. Over.
Okay. I'm actually going to let this play for a little bit longer because I want to see something. I want to see if she continually goes, he continues, he murders, he this, he that. That's what I'm going to be looking for.
And over again. And he encourages millions upon millions of fans to continue the animal holocaust.
Thank God an ad. Thank God it's unskippable too.
At Domino's, you can get more than just amazing, delicious pizza. There's also lava cakes, bread bites, and more.
Here are 21 things
Okay, now back to hell again.
that the egg industry doesn't want you to see. It takes approximately 34 hours for a hen to produce an egg. So to keep up with the demand, more than 300 million hens are used by the U.S. egg industry every year. Now remember, we're only looking at the U.S. industry.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
I'll try to move this over if I can. Their lives are 2 years of misery, starting right when they are born. You know when a new baby is born, how we try
Is she on PETA?
to give them love and
Yes, she is.
the warmth of their mother, and we sing to them, and there's so much bonding going on. Imagine
I feel like my brain cells are... Sorry. I feel like my brain cells are dying by listening. By listening to this, in all honesty.
being born in a world where your mother is nowhere near you. Imagine being born in a dark hell, Auschwitz. That's where these animals are born.
I'm sorry. Did you just compare trying to get a shot?
Maybe sing to them. Over if I can.
Did you just compare that to Auschwitz? That doesn't... Good Lord. I think this woman is insane. The food industry is nothing like Auschwitz. Nothing like the Holocaust. You see, the Holocaust was done because Hitler hated Jews. Hitler hated anyone who didn't agree with his vision, and may I remind you that that vision was an Aryan race. Blonde-haired, blue eyes. If you were a Jew, you had to wear the Star of David on your uniform. That way everyone knew that you were a Jew. But that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about the fact that the German people turned a blind eye to what Hitler was doing. Okay. We're talking about an industry that has made billions upon billions of dollars by giving us food. It was done from the time of actually way before the time of the Pilgrims, all the way up to now.
Their lives are 2 years of misery, starting right when they are born.
By the way, I want to make something very clear. I don't have a problem with that vegan teacher. Yes, I think she's insane by using the comparisons that she's using. However, I have a problem with how she is going about her worldviews and her way of seeing the world. I don't have a problem that she's vegan. What I have a problem with is how she comes across with her worldviews and with her stance. Her stance is, if you aren't vegan, you are wrong. And that's not how you should look at it. Also, this website, it's very biased.
You know, when a new baby is born, how we try to give them love and the warmth of their mother, and we sing to them, and there's so much bonding going on. Imagine being born in a world where your mother is nowhere near you. Imagine being born in a dark...
You know, there are people there are children who don't have their mothers and don't have their fathers. There are kids who don't have these things, and so yes, back to this point. There are kids who don't have their mothers and don't have their fathers, and it's not the child's fault. When I was in high school and in health class, we were learning about drugs, and the paraprofessional who was in there told us a story about how a baby addicted to drugs was taken away from its mother as soon as it was born. And I looked at the paraprofessional and I said, "That's not fair." She asked me, "Do you think it's fair that for every moment of that baby's life that it has to scream and cry because it's not it doesn't have it doesn't have the drug it's addicted to?" And I said, "No, that's not fair to the child." So it happens with humans too.
Hell. Auschwitz. That's where these animals are born. In a concentration camp. Chicks are born in large incubators such as these. Look at these little innocent animals.
That is also used in zoos.
Look at these little babies. If you saw one in real life, would it ever occur to you to just take it, put it towards your mouth, take a bite out of him or her? Never. We're not born wanting to hurt animals. We are all born vegan. We can all return.
We are all born vegan. What? It's true that when man first walked the earth, that we were eating berries and things like that. But it wasn't until after the flood of Noah that we began to eat meat. And that's because God told Noah that he would that the animals would be afraid of us. And if you look at it now, that's true. You look at example. You look at a snake. What's that snake going to do? It's going to slither away from you because it knows that you can kill it.
They will never see their mothers. Shortly after birth, the males and females are separated. Imagine that this was you. Imagine you're just an innocent newborn and you're on a conveyor belt and you don't know where your mom is and it's cold and you're like, what's going on? And some human picks you up and checks to see if you have a penis or not. If you are male, they throw you in a machine that grinds you up and kills you. This is the cycle of violence that Gordon Ramsay thinks it's okay. We're going to...
Oh, good Lord. She brought it up again. Okay. Gordon Ramsay isn't the reason why animals are dying. It's not even the food industry's fault that the animals are dying. It's not even the animals' fault. Food has to come from somewhere. Plain and simple.
Be reviewing the work of
This man, this is the face of somebody who thinks it's okay to hurt these innocent animals. Why? Why?
No, that face says you're absurd.
Is he like that? How is he different from Hitler? Name the one way he is different.
I can name a few. So let's start. Gordon Ramsay wasn't depressed, wasn't nervous about the end of a war. Gordon Ramsay never tried to attempt suicide. Gordon Ramsay never shot himself in the head like Hitler did. Gordon Ramsay didn't create his own political party. He never made the swastika. Never went after a race of people. Never wanted an Aryan race. Wasn't crazy. Wasn't a dictator. That's it.
He doesn't have a mustache. That's the only difference I see.
He doesn't have a mustache? Apparently you don't know Adolf Hitler. Actually, no one knows him except for history books.
I would even suggest that he is a worse human. Because with Hitler, at least he stopped at 6 million or more.
Gordon Ramsay is a worse human being than Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler tried to he tried to commit genocide. He came close too, and the only reason why he stopped at 6 million is because the war was over for Germany. He went into his bunker and he shot himself in the head. He knew it was over. The concentration camps were liberated in, I believe it was 1945 by Dwight D. Eisenhower. How are you going to make a comparison to one of the worst human beings that was ever alive, to Gordon Ramsay? And how are you going to say that Gordon is a worse human being than someone who killed millions upon millions of people in gas chambers?
murders under his care. Horrific.
She makes it sound like that Gordon Ramsay is the problem with the food industry. They didn't die under his watch.
What they did to the Jews was horrific, and what they continue to do now, human.
Correction. For a teacher, she's not very well informed. It just wasn't the Jews. It was everyone. Quite literally, everyone. There were Hitler's political opponents would just disappear overnight, and that's because he would have his, I forget what his, there was a group of people that he had that would track his political opponent down and kill them. And they did that with every single political opponent. That's why there was no opposition with Hitler, because any opposition was stopped dead in its tracks.
And other leaders in the world is to continue that abuse to animals, even though they know how much pain they suffer through, even though they know anybody can be vegan, which simply means that you do your best at all times to not hurt animals. He absolutely can never eat another animal in his life, or eggs.
But what about vegans that have dogs or cats and they abuse them? Not talking farm animals, talking domesticated animals. You can't make any excuses for them.
Or milk. He absolutely could do it, and so could millions and millions of the people who follow him. But instead, he uses the power he has, the media influence, to make the world a worse place.
No, he doesn't. He's not a Fidel Castro. He's not an Adolf Hitler. He's not a Mussolini.
Watch the NBA Finals live on ABC.
Down this this slide here is a blade that cuts the animals. It slices the baby chicks and murders them. In some places, they are put into giant bags, where they are just giant plastic bags, and when they're full, they just tie a knot, and they let them suffocate to death or die from the weight of their brothers. If you ever came across a little baby chick in real life, it would never occur to you to hurt them. Never. I know it. So why do you pay?
Excuse me, but you don't know anything.
To follow somebody like Gordon Ramsay. The females head to a life in the egg industry. The males are either tossed into trash bags to suffocate, or are ground up alive.
By the way, I just want it to be known that Right now, I am eating eggs, hash browns, and hamburgers. So, there you go, that vegan teacher.
It's just because of fate that you are born in the body that you're born in. We must design our planet, our world, in such a way that no matter what body.
No, fate has nothing to do with it.
A sentient being is born in, that they are safe and never have to go through this. They committed no crimes. Just like the Jewish people in the Holocaust never committed a single crime. These babies are innocent.
Yeah, Jesus Christ didn't commit any sin, and yet he was nailed to a cross. He became sin. Your point?
But we understand that now, and we have stopped treating members of the Jewish population and others. Many gay people were also killed, and homeless people, all kinds of people were killed during World War II. People who did nothing wrong. So why is it that we haven't learned? Why do we continue this?
Why haven't we learned? Because history is doomed to repeat itself if we don't learn from our mistakes.
Imagine it was somebody's job to design a machine like this. Somebody got paid to create a murder machine. Pigs are gassed to death. Pigs are put in gas chambers. The Holocaust never ended for the animals. And here's what one of the leaders looks like.
I don't understand this. I don't understand her comparison. Maybe somebody down in the comment section below could tell me her comparison and how it makes any sense whatsoever. But right now, it doesn't.
Here he is. This is the face of somebody who thinks it's okay to commit these horrible crimes. What is the difference between him and Hitler? Tell me. Again, you're going to say that one is murdering humans and one is murdering animals, but what is...
No. I would say this. Gordon Ramsay was never a maniac like Hitler. Hitler got depressed after World War I, and that's what led him down the path that he chose.
the difference? There is no difference. There's no reason for it. Taste pleasure is not a reason.
By the way, what I'm eating right now tastes really good.
The female chicks have the ends of their big beaks cut off with a hot blade.
While that's sad, and while I don't agree with it, I wouldn't go about it the way she is.
Gordon Ramsay thinks that this is okay. I don't.
He doesn't think it's okay, you complete moron.
How can we do this to baby birds?
She hasn't cried once in this video.
How can millions of people watch Gordon Ramsay and think it's an uplifting and fun show and keep paying him so much money to promote this.
He's not promoting it. He's just a chef. He cooks food for the masses. He's not promoting the food. He's not promoting what you're trying to indicate that he's promoting. You're trying to do guilt by association, and it's not working.
How can we have a society like this? We need people to be vegan, and we need vegan chefs to be prominent in our society, and we need to stop
Vegan this, vegan that. Shut up already.
paying people like Gordon Ramsay, and anybody who is near him should try to talk some sense into him and tell him that this must stop. And that his legacy should be that when he found out and he really understood what happened, that he stopped. But we know that he knows.
How can he know? It's not like he has a crystal ball. And I guess you do. I guess you know everything that goes on in the food industry because you read from all these biased websites. Just because you're trying to prove your point. Your point is that people should be vegan. Honestly, that's all you should say. But that's not how you go about it. Instead, you try to make Gordon Ramsay out to be a killer, a murderer. That would be like me saying that a professional wrestler is a gladiator. When they're two different things. A professional wrestler and a gladiator, just like Gordon Ramsay and everything that you're trying to do.
I have told him to watch this important stuff, these documentaries. I've asked him.
And you want to know why he doesn't get back with you? It's because he has better things to do with his life than to fight with you on something so trivial.
And he doesn't care. 5 to 11 hens are crammed into wire battery cages. Imagine living your life like that, so tightly confined. Your whole life in a prison when you've done nothing wrong. You committed no crime. The cages are often stacked on top of one another. Imagine living your whole life in the dark.
I still haven't seen a single tear shed. I hear a lot of sniffles, but I haven't seen it. I haven't seen a single tear.
Darkness, not knowing the sun, never able to open your wings. If you're a bird, that's all the bird wants. Just to be free outside, that's all. They don't want money, they don't want fame, they don't want objects. They just want to live.
She's repeating herself, talking in circles.
their lives, free from harm. The cages are often stacked one on top of the other, which allows the urine and feces to fall down on the birds in the lower cages. Do you think that in the Nazi prison camps, that people were stacked on top of each other and shit on other people's heads and peed on other people's heads?
They were stacked together. But again, your comparison doesn't hold any water whatsoever.
You're so innocent. I know you might not care about chickens, and I never used to either, until I really looked at them. Till I really just looked. And I
So, with that one sentence, she has admitted that she wasn't always vegan.
saw them. Because of the terrible living conditions, chickens often die in their cages.
How many more points are we going to have to listen to? I mean, I've paused a lot in this video. And, I just want to know how many points we have to sit through, because this is getting very, very, very old.
When you think about the images that you saw in World War II of Auschwitz, of the concentration camps, does this look
Again, this comparison doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
any different to you? Why do humans continue to pay for this? Why does Gordon Ramsay think that it's okay for us to continue?
Again, Gordon Ramsay doesn't think it's okay. You are just trying to have him play a scapegoat.
Continue to do this to animals? You couldn't write a horror story worse than this if you tried.
Indeed, you could. And by that, I mean you could write a worse horror story than what she's talking about.
Sometimes left to rot in the same space as living birds. Imagine being in a cage.
She's going to stop on every single point of this website that doesn't make any of her points valid at all.
So tight, and your friends are dead around you. How is this different than a Holocaust?
I'm tired of repeating myself.
After about 2 years, those who have survived are sent to slaughter. At the slaughterhouse, laying hens meet the same bloody end as that of chickens raised for their meat. These are just chickens that are laying eggs. The chickens that are bred for meat don't live that long. They only live about 7 weeks. These are the chickens who lay the eggs. They're a different kind. They're shackled and hung upside down.
Yeah. Yeah, they are shackled and put upside down.
They take them and they slam their legs into this machine and hang them upside down after a life of confinement. Sometimes they're electrocuted. Their throats are cut. They're often scalded to death if they didn't die before that. They just put them in boiling hot water. Chickens are smart, social, sensitive animals who deserve a much better life than this. Help chickens everywhere by refusing to eat eggs. And if you think more people need to see where their eggs come from, share this page on Facebook. So I'm asking you, please share this information.
How about no?
And when you grow up, do not be like Gordon Ramsay.
Do not be like Gordon Ramsay, because he's a bad person just because he works in the restaurant industry. And I don't like him because he does not line up with my values.
We must stop people like this. We will never have peace on Earth as long as we have speciesism. Speciesism is the first form of racism. Speciesism is when we teach kids at an early age that that human is better than that human, or that animal is better than that animal. It's all related. We must have compassion for everyone, no matter what your race, no matter what your body size, no matter what your body looks like. Everyone has a right to live here without pain, without being ripped away from their families. Thank you to everybody who has watched. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet.
I'm not going to subscribe because I don't care about you.
We're going to be learning a lot. We're going to be looking at recipes that have no animals in them. And we're going to be talking about other animal abusers. And we're going to be continuing to compare the abuse of animals to the Holocaust, because the Holocaust never ended for the humans or for the animals here on this earth. You write to me and you tell me how Gordon Ramsay is different from Hitler. I'd be very curious to know. Name the trait that the animals have that makes them unworthy of living in your view.
They're livestock.
I see no reason for us to not protect them wholeheartedly. We must end the Holocaust. We must shut down the gas.
The Holocaust ended when the camps were liberated. The Holocaust ended decades upon decades ago.
Chambers. And these absolute horrific places, these death camps. We must have a vegan world.
We must have a vegan world. Good. Good luck with that.
We can do it. Don't be like Gordon Ramsay. Be better.
And I'm gonna say, be like Gordon Ramsay.
And be vegan.
Eat meat.
Thank you for watching.
Well, my brain cells have officially died off. Thank you very much, that vegan teacher. I am Hardcore Christopher. I know this was very, very, very long. Sorry about all the coughing. But, if you would like to be a member of our community, hit the subscribe button down below and make sure you ring the bell and click all for every time I upload a video. If you don't, it's okay, I still respect you. At the end of the day, I'm just glad that you chose to spend a little bit of your time here with me. Keep it hardcore if you want.